The following podcast contains spoilers to Avengers Endgame. Do not listen to this podcast if you haven't seen the movie.
God, seems like 1,000 years ago. I fought my way out of that cave. Became Iron Man.
This is the Bunzerelly Show.
Definitely the biggest superhero event of 2019 has got to be Avengers Endgame. And with everybody still talking about it, Bob came out of the theater and he was really excited. I was like, you know what? Let's do another show. There's just so much to cover, and it's great having another perspective. So without further ado, this is Avengers Endgame Revisited.
So we go in, I bring the kid, and just like you said, how you recently watched all the movies to catch up with your friend said to do, was a great idea because it's 10 years of movies and you forget them. You know, sometimes you see the movie or in the theater, you're half distracted.
Yes.
And you've seen it. And unless, you know, if you don't own the DVD and are watching it 10 times, you forget about it. Like, Age of Ultron. I watched Age of Ultron again for the second time only recently.
Yeah.
And I swear to God, I didn't remember anything about that movie. And it turned out to be one of the best ones. And for some random, crazy reason, I just forgot about that whole movie. You were at an advantage watching them all again.
Yeah.
I had that same advantage because my kid just got into Marvel movies. She's only 10 now.
Mm-hmm.
The Marvel movies go back 10 years. But I only let her start watching them a couple years ago.
Yeah.
So I just watched all of them again and then walked into this one. And it was like there's no other series that is, how many movies was it? Was it 10, 12 movies?
It was 20. It was around 20.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was around 20 because I forgot with the news article because I was Kevin Feige's like, well, we just did 20 movies and we got 20 movies planned. But yeah.
Is it really 20 movies?
I think so because think about it. 3 Caps, 3 Iron Mans, 3 Thors, so that's 9. 3 Avengers.
6, 9.
That's 12.
3.
Doctor Strange, Black Panther, Guardians is another 3.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I know I'm going to hit 20. You go to Guardians 2, Spider-Man, but yeah, easily. You know what I'm saying? Captain Marvel.
Wow. There is nothing else because I'm trying to explain to the kid how big it was because I walked out of there. The one spoiler I was told was I was going to cry.
Yeah.
And I didn't just like tear up. I was full on weeping like I thought I was going to have to leave the theater. I was full on like I can't let my kid see me like this because I'm supposed to be strong.
Oh yeah, I'm watching the movie and I'm starting to tear up at certain points.
It's not even tear up. Even when all of them came back, when Black Panther walked through Doctor Strange's circle, he walked through there, I'm crying. Yeah. And the guy came back. This is someone came back to life, and for some reason that made me cry. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to hold it together. Well, I'm strong. I'm going to be a good dad. And then, like,
and your daughter,
Iron Man.
I know she loved Black Panther, too.
And she loved Black Panther. So I keep looking at her. So I have to see the movie again because when you have a kid with you, yours is young. But you'll get there to where you're more interested in their reaction than yours. Yeah. So you're more looking at them. So I'm half distracted because, like, and then you're almost upset that they're not, they're like missing these like huge moments. You know what I mean?
You know what made that moment so cool when they came back? I think because the way they wrote it and they paced it, because Hulk does the snap, and right after Hulk does the snap, Thanos attacks, and they throw so much shit at you, you forget. Because I was totally surprised. Yeah, I forgot too. Because all of a sudden it's like the big 3 versus Thanos, the hammer. There's like so much different. You know what I mean? They did it smart.
Yeah, it was right before it happened. I said to myself, I'm like, wait a minute, and I didn't say it the whole time. He just snapped. It's like, okay, they're all back, and then you're looking at the birds. It's like, oh, the birds. That shows that they're back, and I still didn't think about it. Yeah, like the thought, like you picture like the pistons burning in the brain. And then the missile comes and hits Ant-Man, and you're like, "Holy, Ant-Man's dead." That's your first thought. And now I forget everything else because I love Paul Rudd. I love Ant-Man. I love him so much, and that was my only concern. So I forget everything else. And then they start the battle, and all of a sudden I'm like, wait a minute. Where's, and as soon as I say it in my stupid brain,
Thor,
and they did it good too, it was Sam, Cap. Sam was saying to Cap through the headphones, Cap,
Oh, yeah,
Cap, do you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Cap heard in his headphones Sam. And
Yes.
it was cool that they picked Sam because I didn't recognize his voice right away, and I'm very good at picking out voices.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I was just like, wait a minute, is that, oh yeah. And then it's like, you're thinking just Sam, and it's like, no, it's not just Sam.
And that shot
and then
when
everybody.
he's flying sideways,
Oh,
and
God.
it still takes you a second to figure it out. That was the best part, was like, you still didn't realize. You see like 100 circles open. It's like a beautiful shot. He's flying sideways.
Oh, God.
And then all of a sudden, like,
Did it so well.
Doctor Strange.
And we knew it going in because there's no way the movie happens without bringing them back. And also, we see on the roadmap that there's a Black Panther movie happening. There's a Spider-Man movie happening. I mean, there's even trailers out already for Spider-Man. So we knew it was going to happen. But somehow, in the movie, I forgot.
Yes.
And when it happened, I was as surprised as if I didn't know it was going to happen.
Yeah, like I said, like we all knew they were coming back, but through the movie, you're just assuming like them coming back is the happy ending. You didn't realize like they're going to come back for this big epic superhero straight out of the comic book battle, like straight out of like just everything. And like, why not?
And done so well.
The guys are hard at work because I listen to their show every do mine, but they said it the best. They said they earned it. Nobody could have pulled that off, but Marvel could pull it off because they spent all this time making you buy into all this stuff. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That you couldn't believe all this stuff was possible except like 10 years of explaining it to you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I didn't want to read anything before I talked to you because I wanted to talk to you fresh.
Yeah.
But I was just so excited about the movie. I clicked on something, and it was very interesting how they said, and it's very similar to what you're saying, is to where no other movie could have pulled it off, to where if you think about it in terms of if you never saw any of the other movies, they didn't stop and explain everything, even though it was 3 hours long.
Yeah.
So it's curious. I'm curious how someone who just saw that would react to it. Now, it would be difficult to find that human being unless he was 12 years old. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it's not, but they didn't have to. And it's not so much saying like if they should have or shouldn't have. It's such a testament to the movies, really just more in, I guess, in the size and how successful they were, not so much that great writing. But it's something that will never happen again, to where you could do that, to where you could wrap up so many storylines without having to go back and say, oh, Thor's, well, Thor did say with, the one ex-girlfriend, he did explain it was his ex-girlfriend. And he did say, oh, she was infected with this.
Yeah.
But
and that was the only movie they had to explain because that one wasn't as...
But yeah, that was the only one they had to explain. But the other ones...
The only thing I could say is...
Infinity War. You would have to see Infinity War.
Because Infinity War...
It's like, basically Infinity... It's Infinity War 2, and you really should see everything else. Yes,
and they needed both movies. They needed both movies because you had to explain the gems and the whole thing and Thanos, but that's the only thing. Maybe you'd have a little less impact. The only thing is like, Hawkeye losing his family in the beginning, but you don't understand the impact. They explained it all, but yeah.
I love the Hawkeye storyline.
Yeah.
I usually hate Hawkeye, and I hate even more. I don't hate the character of Black Widow, but something that bothers me about her is that she's 4 feet tall and she has no superpowers. And yet Captain America fights this alien, and this alien punches Captain America, who could take a planet to the face and be okay. But somehow this 4 foot tall, 80-pound girl jumps in Infinity War. And, Hawkeye, they say it's the running joke about, he just shoots arrows. But at least he shoots arrows right in her head. Yeah. Like, the only thing that she has is her strength, but she's only 80 pounds. So, I just don't see, someone needed to come up at some point and be like, oh, hey, it turns out that Black Widow is really an alien. And I'd be like, oh, okay. It didn't kill the movie, but that's something that always bothered me. And I do like how they wrapped up her storyline in the thing because she took the brunt of the stress of the situation, and then she sacrificed herself. That add up to my whole cheesiness of her powers part.
Yeah.
Her character, they closed out her character well. Which, hold on, side thought, aren't they making a standalone movie
Black
for her?
Widow? Yeah, so it's got to be a prequel. I mean, they're not going to have a cosmic, like, how did you get back from the Soul Stone or whatever. It doesn't work with Black Widow. If it's a small-scale spy espionage thing and it's something you do in October or December, like a Venom movie, you know what I'm saying? I don't think it would be a big summer blockbuster crazy thing. I think it would be an awesome Black Widow movie, and you could make it like her past with Hawkeye and stuff. You know, when she started, if you think about when she started, okay, she had that role in Iron Man that worked. She then in Captain America, she was kind of like, it was more of like the character and her talking to Cap and talking to Iron Man and representing S.H.I.E.L.D. and stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And even like what you were saying about the aliens, I agree, but you never saw her get punched by an alien and be okay. That would bother you. You know what I'm saying? Like, that would be...
Good point.
If she got knocked on her butt about an alien. You know, they even make a joke about, you know, Spider-Man and Doc Ock. It was like, well, Spider-Man punched him in the head. Does he have a superpower head or something? Because Spider-Man can punch through it. But
it's funny you say that. That's exactly the storyline I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Is when Spider-Man punched him in the head. Why was he knocked out? Not knocked out? Black Widow is a storyline. I did care for her a lot going back just because I thought it was a little ridiculous, just like Hawkeye. No powers, whatever. But I love where her storyline went. And I like how it went with, like, she was almost like the sit-in for S.H.I.E.L.D.
What did you think of, so Iron Man comes back, okay? That's how it opens up and everything. Because you're starting with, like, you know, the way Infinity War ended was kind of perfect. It was like the shock. Because why show Captain America crying and this and that? You know, it was like, because they had that small victory with Thor and the hammer.
Almost too much. Because, like, you walked out of there like, guys, I know this was a movie that was supposedly good for kids.
Yeah.
But 500 million people just died. So, you know, we're going to go. But, yeah, it ended rough in how it starts. And it was funny because we go outside and a kid walks out with us. I say kid, he's like 20-something. Mm-hmm. And he's like, oh, I like the movie. I'm like, oh, I loved it. I said, it was perfect. It was literally perfect.
Yeah.
And he says, it was so slow, though, to start. And at the time, I just yesed him and yes. I'm like, oh, yeah, I guess it was a little slow. But it bothered me walking away. And I was like, well, you had to recover from the last one. The last one ended off so intense that you couldn't just like be like, oh, well, now we're going to fix it. It's like, no, there was some serious freaking horror there.
Yeah. What could you have cut out? Because I've thought about that too. What could you have cut out?
I'm sure you could have cut stuff out because of the length of it. Mm-hmm. But honestly, like even Captain America talking to the support groups.
Yeah.
Because at the time when it first happened, I was like, oh, it's a little slow for this movie. I was like, you know, it fits because you want to show the horror of what happened. You don't want to ignore it. Because you can't have something that horrible happen, you know?
Yeah.
And just be like, you can't just be like, oh, 9/11 happened. Oh, but we found Osama, so everything's fine. It's like, no, like, there
still happened.
Horror. And you need to show the horror because it builds you up to appreciate what they all sacrificed. But I don't think you could have taken anything from that.
No.
I think you needed to be reminded.
Yeah. Because
the movie was a year ago or more. I don't know. How long ago was it was
last year. It was last summer was Infinity War.
Okay, so you had to be brought back there.
Yes.
We left the last movie traumatized. Mm-hmm. You had to be brought back to that spot. And it was traumatic at the end of that movie because that movie was 2-3 hours itself. So you were built up to it. You had to be brought back there. So I don't know how the time worked out, but after this kid said this, because this really bothered me when this kid said this to me. I just yesed them to get them to go away because also I was worried about, I didn't want to say a spoiler for someone walking into the movie.
Yeah,
so I didn't want to talk to them about it.
Yeah, somebody asked me a question. I'm like, I don't want to talk about it. Like, I'm afraid to talk about it.
There's people walking in to see it, and me and you have seen the movie, spoiler alerts. I was scared the kids would go, oh yeah, Iron Man dies. And now destroys the movie for people. Yeah. So I didn't want to talk to them. But it's still stuck in my head, and I walked out, and I'm like, was it slow to start? And I says, you know what? I don't know how the hours work out, but it was a 3-hour movie.
Yeah.
So if you just split it into 3, take 1 hour to bring me back to the horror show that was the first of those 2. Bring me 1 hour to bring me back to the horror of Infinity War. Give me an hour to get back to that. Yeah. And then the second hour is giving me the plan and doing the recap of all the movies, which we haven't even gotten into that yet. That was my favorite part.
And
the time traveling into all the old movies. It was like a clip show on Seinfeld. Like the series is ending, the episode before the finale, you have the clip show.
Yeah,
that was the clip show. The greatest hits. And it was brilliant. It was done perfectly. They did Captain America's, it was the actor's favorite scene was the elevator fight, which is my favorite scene too. I forget which movie that was.
Winter Soldier.
Captain America, when he gets into the elevator and he says, oh my God, I got goosebumps. When he goes,
who wants to get out now?
Who wants to get out now?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was awesome.
Before we do this.
Cool. Yeah, before we do this, is there anyone that wants to get out?
Yeah.
Oh my God. And that shield, that's his team, and he knew it and he said it. That was the best thing. And I read a thing afterwards that the actor said that was his favorite scene too. And I just loved it. And they did it shot for shot, and I thought it was going to happen again. Yeah. And I'm still confused as to if that was before or after that exact thing, but it still was a tribute either way. It was a tribute to that.
No, it was before because Winter Soldier takes place after Avengers. But those guys were Hydra the whole time.
It was those guys.
Yeah.
That was shot for shot.
It was shot for shot.
That fight scene.
Yeah, and then even like the guy
that was a tribute to that fight.
Oh yeah, and it was the Russos that did Winter Soldier. The Russos made Captain America cool. Like they did Winter Soldier, then they did Civil War. So when Joss Whedon got a little burnt out, they're like, "Well, you Russos are pretty badass. Why don't you guys do this?" And
I tell you what, Captain America is the most impressive thing about the series.
Yes,
and really Iron Man too, because like obviously Iron Man's awesome. Yeah. But me and you being comic book guys, right? Mm-hmm. We're comic book guys. 90s comic book, 80s, 90s comic book era.
Yes.
Iron Man was not a comic then. It was not a successful comic, or was not a big deal then.
Yeah, he wasn't
Captain
X-Men.
America.
Yeah.
Captain America was cheesy as crap. I read a whole thing on the actor that played him. Chris Evans, sorry. So we wanted to cast him how we were going to pull it off. And they said, what was so difficult about this was, how do you make a guy such a Boy Scout, but not have him be just a cheese ball?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to pull that off with Iron Man standing next to him.
Yeah.
To make Captain America believable, to where it's just a skinny twerp who becomes really strong and throws this shield, when there's this guy who's got all this, there's Doctor Strange throwing magic, there's Spider-Man shooting webs. But you have this guy that's just super strong. So impressive how well he pulled that off, Chris Evans.
Yeah, and they didn't nail his character down until Winter Soldier. Like, the first Captain America was like, okay, here he is. This, we got to get to point A, explain him. And then Avengers, he's there. But, like, Winter Soldier was the first movie where Captain America started getting cool. And it was
Winter Soldier, it was a standalone, fantastic movie.
Mm-hmm.
Iron Man 1.
Yes.
Winter Soldier.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think what else sets it up. Infinity War. Civil
Ragnarok
War.
Was Thor's best.
Oh, Ragnarok I loved. Yeah. Ragnarok might be my favorite of all of them, but it's almost in a different category because it was just hilarious and crazy.
Yeah, it was like, let's make Thor more like let's use the Guardians formula on Thor. Was pretty much what it was.
Yeah,
and it worked.
I've watched Ragnarok so many times, and I can hang up the phone with you and go watch Ragnarok right now.
Yeah, me too.
and be content, even though I've seen it 10 times. That movie, I love that. I love every second of that movie.
Yeah.
Is Ragnarok the same guys that did Avengers?
No, Ragnarok is the guy that directed Ragnarok. That was his first Marvel movie. It was like Taiki. I don't want to say his name wrong, but he hasn't done any other Marvel stuff before Ragnarok.
All right, so he's not one of the brothers, the Russo.
No.
He's got to get something else because that movie was fantastic. I don't know. Is that just me and you? Did that get a good reception?
When Guardians, you know about the whole thing with Guardians, how James Gunn, they offered it to the director of Thor Ragnarok. They offered it to him, and he would have been a good choice. He would have been a good choice. I'm glad they stuck with Guns. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That was the first thing I looked up afterwards. Is Thor in Guardians 3? Because that's the only reason I could see. And now the thing is, well, you know what I did indirectly find possibly an answer was they had a script for it before Endgame happened. Yes.
Supposedly Chris Pratt seen a James Gunn script before Endgame. So I don't know at what point in Endgame did they throw Thor into Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't know, but I know before Endgame came out, supposedly the Guardians, and then obviously this could be wrong, but the Guardians of the Galaxy script was already out there. Because that's the first thing I thought when I saw it. I said, this makes G&G 3, G&G, I made up abbreviations. G&G 3, it makes it interesting because now Thor's in it.
And meanwhile, if you're James Gunn and they tell you, listen, we weren't sure coming back.
Throw Thor in there.
We threw Thor. Are you cool with that? I'd be like, hell yeah. I'll take Thor.
Like, you want me to throw Thor in there? Just the coolest character you've had yet? Thor 1 was so impressive that they were to take this guy that was so ridiculously too strong and throw him into Earth.
Yeah.
Thor 2, meh.
Thor 2 was
but I did like it at the time. Looking back, I don't care for it. But at the time, I did like it.
You know, Cap grabs that hammer.
The hammer. We left that out.
Yeah.
Him grabbing that hammer. And if you think about it, he's really more worthy than anybody.
Yeah.
So it isn't even like it shouldn't have been a shock, but it was awesome to see it happen. Because he was obviously he was the guy that jumped on the grenade.
Yeah.
This was the guy who was an 80-pound kid who jumped on a grenade. He was more worthy than Thor was for it. Thor was just a guy looking for, at the point that where Thor was first using the hammer, he was less worthy than Captain America is now.
When that scene happened, it's funny because I didn't catch it till the last second because maybe some people figured it out, but you just see the hammer raising up. So I'm thinking like, okay, Thor's raising the hammer up or something, or he's calling for the hammer. It's just until the hammer goes back and that catch, another beautiful shot. Yeah, Cap with the hammer. And then all of a sudden, like the big battle, and he goes, Avengers! Shoom! Catches the hammer again. Assemble! And they all charge into battle. And it's cool because, like, Iron Man and Thor are more equipped. I don't want to say who's stronger than the other, but they're more built for Thanos than Captain America. So for the last few minutes, for it to be Captain America, just like that fight, him versus Thanos, was awesome. He goes that uppercut hammer hit with Thanos.
It was beautiful and it was unexpected because, like you said, you would think more Iron Man or definitely Thor.
Yeah.
So they worked it out with Thor being not at 100%. That was a good thing. And they did it good with Captain Marvel. And it made sense. And you have to do this, which is a whole other conversation, where Captain Marvel is so strong, it's like Superman, to where you have to exclude her from the story, or else it doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's like, no, she's saving the 1,000 other planets. So it's like, okay, well, who's going to help us here? You figure Iron Man and Hulk. Hulk did his part. Iron Man did his part. It's like, well, Captain America, okay, well now he's got the hammer. Now all of a sudden this guy, he's the one fighting it, and it's a fight I did not expect to see at all. And it made more sense now than before.
We'll be right back.
Are you looking for a better option than cable? Well, let me tell you about SlingTV. SlingTV is live TV, only better. Choose the service that's best for you, starting at $25 a month. And then you could add on extras like sports, comedy, kids. Get the SlingTV app on your favorite device and start watching instantly. And if you sign up with our link, you'll get $5 off your first 3 months. Terms and conditions may apply. Go to sling.bunzerelly.com for more information. Or look for the link in this episode description.
So I knew that there was going to be some crime, and I expected to tear up. And I don't know, you're a dad. I could say that you're a dad.
Yeah.
Have you noticed? Honestly, have you noticed that since you became a dad?
Yeah.
Are you crying more in movies now?
Yes. I'll tell you straight up. Yes.
I never used to. I never used to. And not just the obvious, oh, the kid died. Obviously, that would be a problem. I'm just saying random, like the deer dies or someone shoots the bunny. Like nothing, like in the cartoon. You know, like the kid's like having a good time playing with Legos and you're sitting there crying like a baby. That's what I'm talking about. Have you noticed that yourself?
Yeah. A little more emotional. No, I can see that.
Yeah. Just so much more, right? Okay, so that's me. So the one spoiler I got was you're going to cry. And I was pissed when he said this because you just told me a major character is going to die, which I was right. He said that. He just spoiled that for me. But that's fine. As far as I knew, no one was going to. I mean, you would think they would, but you don't know. You don't know. They might make 10 more of these. Who knows? So anyway. So I think, like, okay, I'm going to tear up a little bit. So I'm tearing up all throughout it because it's just sad. Everyone coming back
that was
for
emotional.
some reason made me tear up.
Yeah.
I teared up so much for that. And it's so funny because you're like, oh, well, they're back. But I guess it makes you think of whatever, mortality. But Black Panther walking through that, full on, I start crying. Yeah. I'm crying now. I'm tearing up, full on tearing up. Mm-hmm. So then it gets to Iron Man and Iron Man's whole thing. And then the turnaround, here's what I was getting at. Oh, my God. And I tried to talk about this to the kid who's seen it, and I don't know if I'm like, did you realize? I'm like saying, like, this was huge. The storyline change of Iron Man holding Spider-Man as Spider-Man turned to dust. Yeah. And then switching to Spider-Man with Iron Man dying. Oh, my God. I'm full-on crying.
And
I'm full-on crying.
And War Machine's
Pepper's there. Which, by the way, Spider-Man, step out of the way and let the wife... I mean, Spider-Man got 2 minutes in that scene. And then the wife got 15 seconds. Now, I'm no expert, but I would hope that the guy that I work with would get out the way so my wife could come up and say goodbye to me.
Well, he's just right in front of him for his defense. He's right in front of him.
I'm like, hey, Pete, maybe step aside.
But she's got kind of like
to the mother of my child.
Yeah, but it's almost like because she knows Tony has that father-son thing with him, it's almost it's kind of cool because she's like, okay.
She's doing that for Peter.
Yes.
That's what it is. It's a
and
kid.
It's like, Tony,
she's doing that for him after what they went through.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. And then Tony can rest now. And then the funeral, it went, so this is what I was getting at. It went from tearing up to where I thought I was going to have to leave the theater. Like, full on, like, you know, like you're crying like little kids do. Like, I was literally at that point. I'm like, I have to leave. I have to leave the room. And I'm looking over at her, and she's just looking for chocolates and candies. And I'm like, why is no one else? Is anyone else traumatized like I am? Like, I need to go get help after this.
No, I was right there with you. I was the same way.
Yeah.
The same.
And you told me when we talked before, you said you thought that maybe that would happen. I never thought that would happen. I did not. The thought never crossed my mind that Iron Man would die in that movie.
Well,
It never crossed my mind.
He said
It
in
makes sense
interviews,
now with the contract and everything. It makes sense.
Yeah, because he said, I'd hate to do it for too long to where, and I think it was a little bit before Infinity War, but he said sort of like a quote. He goes, well, I don't want to do it too long to where it looks sad. I'm a lot older than I used to be. He didn't say anything disparaging or anything. He kind of just hinted, he
was just saying he was done. He just wanted to wrap it up.
Yeah.
And which I knew. I knew that he was done, and I've known that Captain America, Chris Evans, was done. I read an interesting article with him talking about acting. Mm-hmm. And he goes, he says, this will be the last, you will never see me act again after this, because he says, my contract is so long with Marvel. And this was a while ago I seen this. I don't know if it's still true.
Okay.
But he goes, he says, I don't see myself acting in too much more because I have such a long contract with Marvel, and it's such a big contract.
Yeah.
That I'm covered for the next 15 years. After that, he didn't say typecast or not, but in my head I read typecast or not. But he says, I've done so much acting by that point, I have no desire to do any more. He says, after that, I'll just be directing or producing. And it makes sense. It's like, take the whole typecasting out of the equation. It's like, well, you know what? I'm an actor. I booked a job for 15 years in which I'm making millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Why try to... it's not like he's one of the Harry Potter kids coming out of that series trying to make a name for himself. He's 40 years old now. He's our age. He's done 10-plus movies, and he's done 10-plus movies outside of it already. He doesn't have much more to accomplish.
Well, hey, Bob, listen, we're just about out of time. But it's been really great going over this with you and getting your perspective on things. So thanks a lot for being on the show, and we're going to see you guys in a couple of weeks.
All right, buddy.